So I'm Will Ferraro. I ran last year for town supervisor. More importantly, I'm an activist in the community who's very concerned about issues at the landfill. I'd like to start off with a comment. Somebody had previously mentioned exploring alternative sites. I actually have a few suggested alternative sites.
Oh, wow.
One would be in Manorville. One would be in Center Moriches. Another one would be in Mount Sinai. Now, I realize that there's not a good likelihood of the Asheville being located in these places for obvious reasons, but even if we were able to move it there or construct it there, it wouldn't happen anyway. Why? Because, well, just look at the color of the people who live there. It wouldn't go in my neighborhood in Selden either, quite frankly. And it wouldn't go in the backyards of people like Ed Romaine, Dan Panico, and Dan LaSquadro, who are very powerful in this town. Our town board would not accept this in their backyards, but they'll accept it in somebody else's backyard, especially when that person and the people, who bear the brunt of the effects of this Asheville are people of color. That's number one. Number two, we need to ensure that the public not only gets a comment on something like, in this form with a scoping hearing, but we need to have town halls in every district. Obviously, we're dealing with COVID, but once the spring comes, if we're able to have live audiences, if not, you could just do it on Zoom. We need to have town halls on the much larger issue of waste management in this town, and particularly in Long Island, whether it has to be a regional town hall or specific to this town. Okay, we have to give consideration at the larger problem of what is happening with our trash. How do we reduce the amount of waste that we're producing? Have we looked into a pay-as-you-throw program that municipalities in Colorado, in California, and other municipalities around the country have been able to successfully reduce their waste on a town municipal level by 40 to 50%? There are studies that show that. Why is it that we just rush to this Asheville idea? In the presentation that was shown on the very last slide, the only alternative listed to the Asheville is no action. Why is that the only considered alternative? We have to get creative. We have to put a lot more options on the table, and we have to get serious about giving proper representation to, most importantly, the people in North Bellport and the surrounding areas and Yaphank, but also to people around Brookhaven so that they understand what's going on, because a lot of them, because it doesn't directly impact them from a health perspective, aren't aware or as engaged in this issue as those living in the community are. And I think if they knew what was going on to this extent, they would be outraged and they would be on the side of the people in the community. So it's time for Brookhaven to open up this process in ways that they don't normally do as a town, and really have an honest conversation on what's going on in Yaphank and what's being proposed for this landfill. Thank you. I appreciate the time.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Farrar. Those are very good comments as well. The alternative sites is important, and the alternatives in general is important, and perhaps more town hall meetings. We appreciate your comments. Thank you.